Good afternoon. Welcome to the Alkalign Lifestyle School. I'm Fidelis Noga II. I'll be your guide today. And what we're talking about is sexual potency and orgasmic potency, and just how these are the unseen forces that keep people happy, sad, sick, rich, broke, whatever you want to call it. It all goes back down to sexual potency and orgasmic potency, because everything in this world, no matter what it is driven by sex. Because what I'm hearing, so many different topics of conversation, and they're coming from a surface level perspective. People aren't talking about this in an energetic perspective. Like they don't look at things where it's almost like social. The way that society is dictated everyone's mind into telling them that they're not free, they don't own themselves, they're not responsible for themselves. And it's kind of degrading in a way. It makes you feel small. It makes you feel less powerful. It makes you feel like you don't have any power. That's really how it looks. Like that's how it actually looks. At least to me, that's how it looks. So let's talk right now. First, I'm going to bring up what sexual potency is. Now, sexual potency, let's define it. In the way we'll define sexual potency is, we'll say it's the ability. So let me rewrite it so you can see it. But sexual potency and orgasmic potency is in the center of this. So first we're going to talk about sexual potency. So sexual potency is the ability, okay? The ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse. The ability to carry out and consummate, there you go, sexual intercourse. Now this is usually referring to the male. And so what we'll talk about right now, because mainly I look at sexual potency and orgasmic potency as a masculine perspective and a feminine perspective. So right now we're talking about the masculine perspective, which is sexual potency. So let me label this like this. All right, so the masculine perspective, sexual potency. This is the issue, the biggest issue that I see is that the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse is now lacking in men. It's now lacking in males. So that ability is like a lost art. And what I'm saying is that we're supposed to want to do this because we have the ability to do this, because we understand that this is the unforeseen energy that drives everything. This is you'll see it as the unseen force that's necessary to create life, right? So it's as essential as like producing food. It's as like essential as navigating, your way through space, or navigating your way, life after death or whatever. It's important. It's the most unforeseen energy force you have to have it. I'll just say that. Like, let me just be really, really simple. If you don't have the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse as a male, as a man, you're going to be a very weak man. So what that means is that there's things that you have to do in order to have the ability. Okay? So let's talk about what you need to do. You need to have self-esteem. You need to have, I'll say, muscle. You also need to have flow. So self-esteem, I'll say muscle, flow. You also need to have wisdom. And you have to have a vision. So let's talk about why self-esteem is causing the inability for a male to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse because they have low self-esteem. You're just a weak man. You don't think very highly of yourself. You think very lowly of yourself. You think that you're owned by somebody. You think that it's happy wife, happy life. It doesn't matter if you're happy. It doesn't matter if you want anything. It doesn't matter if you're driven to go be bigger. It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter enough. So you're letting somebody else's limitations stop you because you aren't driving yourself to where you're supposed to go to because you're too afraid. You're just a coward of your own success. So most people are too afraid to be successful. And this is where it comes down to self-esteem. So most men, I'm seeing a ton of them. I'm in Beverly Hills, California right now. And I see all these men that walk around and they got these beautiful cars and beautiful homes and they're ugly. They got some ugly ass males up in here. They got some fake males up in here. They got some men that walking around and they got cologne. They're flooded in cologne. You know why? Because they have bad body odor, because they stink, because their diet is so bad that it's like it's coming out of their pores, so their pheromones are awful. They're just fake. It's like the most synthetic thing. So you know what they draw in? They draw the women with the fake tits or the BBLs and the nice bag, but they got fake lip injections and they got the hair is everything's fake. They got Botox injections. That's fake. But you know why? Because they're fake. Nothing natural about you. So if you nothing natural about you, then what you think you're gonna draw in? A person that's not natural themselves. You can't create nothing from there. You toxic, they toxic. It's your fault. I'm starting it off because you're supposed to have the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse. You're supposed to have the ability. It ain't about you having 5 houses. Most males, and I'm just telling you how it is. If I get 8 up, so what? Most males that are not attractive, physically attractive, aesthetically attractive, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of things. They have a lot of assets. There's a lot of billionaires who aren't very handsome. I'm just keeping it 100. There's a lot of rich, wealthy males that just don't have it. They ain't got it. Something about them. You know, it's not just aesthetics. You know, their vibration is off. They're dry. You know, they don't have any character. They don't have any enthusiasm. They're boring. They don't know anything else. Some of them only know how to make money. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to make money, but it is a bad thing to not have any expression because you need to be able to express yourself. So the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse as a male, you first need to have high self-esteem. If you have high self-esteem, you don't have any limitations because you don't believe in them because you never created them. So your imagination, in your mind, you think in a projection and you think that it's always possible. You can always do it. You can always achieve it. The goal is always there for you. So you have that self-esteem. And because of that self-esteem, you have the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse because you know that you're going to be attractive to the opposite, which is, in this case, I'm talking about females. So first off is high self-esteem. You've got to have high self-esteem. So I'm just going to put an arrow that draws up that says up. Make sure you have high self-esteem because the higher your self-esteem, the less the limitations that you create for yourself. Next, muscle. You got to train yourself. You got to be fit. This is a cardiovascular exercise. It's actually, and there's different things that you can look up. They have like sexercise type of things, it's basically like a training program for sex, so that you can actually, train yourself while you're carrying out sexual intercourse. Because you need to have muscle in order to do this. You need to have muscle in order to carry out to perform the actions that are needed to please yourself and please your partner. As a male, I look at sex as mainly pleasing my partner. It's not hard for me to please myself. whenever I'm, performing sexual intercourse. But I need to have muscle. I need to be attractive, physically attractive, not only physically attractive, but I need to be emotionally attractive. So I can't be a pushover male, and I also can't be a yes guy, and I also can't be crying all the time. I'm not saying that you can't be emotional. You're supposed to be emotional. You're supposed to get mad. You're supposed to be sad, but you can't live in that. Because once you start to realize that you're the one that causes this, you're the one that's causing it. You're the one, because it's your imagination which is connected to the mind of God. You're the one that's causing, if you have joy and a happy way of living, or you have a smaller, sad and chaotic way of being. And this is also due, so let's also, when you're putting in muscle, you're talking about training yourself. You see bodybuilders that just look huge, insanely huge. And how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're packing it in, just packing all the muscle on, you can have too much. You can have too much because you've been stressing your body so much that it takes its toll. It takes a toll, and mainly those individuals who they have psychological issue in terms of emotions that they haven't dealt with, that they've been running from or avoiding or haven't felt, because they're not in a neutral place where they can accept themselves. So that's another thing, because when you're trying to do things where you're trying to go get too much, you're trying to walk around like you're the Incredible Hulk, it's because you don't have enough self-love for yourself. So you're seeking it. So muscle, you need to have muscle, yes, but I'm talking about lean muscle. I'm talking about you have to have a lifestyle where you're athletic, you're lean, you're able to carry yourself, you're able to defend yourself, you're able to fight for yourself and your family, you're able to protect yourself and your family. That's a different way of looking at it. And I'm not talking about going to go look like the Incredible Hulk, because you're not the Incredible Hulk. Most bodybuilders, when I see them, they're breathing heavy because they have their organs that are working so hard. They have cardiovascular issues because they have to carry so much that their heart is pumping so much. Their lungs are tired. It's like they've added on too much and they passed the threshold. So now they're at a deficit. You see bodybuilders just dropping like flies. In their early 20s, early 30s, they still may have the muscle too, but their liver stops functioning, kidneys stop functioning, heart stops functioning. So there's two ways to do this, okay? And what I'm passionate about training myself, but I'm passionate about simplicity. So if you did things in terms of strength through length, most males I see are stiff walking. They walk like this. They have to have their arms just like this because they can't move them anywhere. They're so tight that the entire time they haven't got any flow. Go get a bodybuilder and take him to yoga class. He can't pick himself up. Go take him to a Pilates class. He can't pick himself up because they actually don't have any access to the actual muscles, to the actual ligaments and the tissues. They're not neurally connected to this. They've been building, so you would think that they're strong, right? But if you can't pick yourself up, you're not that strong. You have to do both. So muscles, I'm talking about training yourself outside of yourself and inside of yourself. You have energetic muscles around you. You gotta train your mind with meditation. You gotta train those muscles in your mind, around your mind, because this field, literally, your crown is extended from your head. It's like a flower, a lotus flower that opens up. So the lotus flower opens up at the top to go with expansion out, and then the energy comes back like a torus pattern. If you don't train these muscles of imagination, and you won't be able to concentrate, okay? You won't be able to actually focus and stay on one task. So muscle is important, but it's not to where you gotta go get 200-300 pounds and walk around like you some defensive lineman or something. That's not it. Like, no, because even the guys that play football and they get so huge, usually whenever they retire, if they're a lineman, they usually slim down. They don't have to pack on all that muscle anymore. So muscle is great because you need to have muscle that's gonna help you to create the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse. Next is gonna be flow. What am I talking about flow? I'm talking about flow. So let's talk about energy. Energy flow. Flow, and I'm just gonna mark down energy. This comes mainly from diet and lifestyle. So flow is gonna be the way that your blood flows throughout your body, what is inside your blood is flowing throughout your body, the way that your oxygen is flowing throughout your body, what you're supplementing with, what you're eating, and what you're drinking. This is essentially important because if you do not eat properly, if you do not eat right, you are going to lose the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse in an instant. I'm telling you 100%. You can go be a carnivore and go out and go, eat a bad diet, go eat fried foods all day long, go drink alcohol all day long, go drink coffee and tea and caffeine, go take protein shakes. They also put caffeine in protein shakes. I used to take some. It's about 9 years ago, 8 to 9 years ago, about 8, I think it was the last time I took it, was 8 years ago. I used to take protein shakes with caffeine inside of it. And this stuff kills the inside of you. It strips you of connection to yourself. It tarnishes the body clock that you internally have. You have no connection to the actual surrounding space. You lose all connection. This is what the lack of flow and energy comes from. And I'm talking mainly about diet, food. If you want to have a heightened ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse, you need to eat a plant-based diet. When I'm talking about plant-based diet, I'm talking about plant-based diet, meaning produce, natural, raw, plant-based food. Meaning I'm going to go to the produce section, I'm going to go get some fruits, I'm going to go get some grapes, I'm going to go get some berries, I'm going to go get some melons. If I'm going to get the grain, this might be quinoa, or it might be some, jasmine rice that I cook in coconut milk. It's not going to be anything where I'm going to take in dead carcasses, because I'm going to cut the connection off. So sexually, this is the main thing. You can consume all the meat that you want. You can think that you can get it up, but you can't. You won't be able to have that. It is no erectile dysfunction. You just have a block in terms of communication. You have a disconnection in terms of communication from the head to the head. So it has to be a flow. It's a chain that goes from straight up. And if this connection is broken because of what you've been putting inside your body, then that's the main thing you need to go to change. Because if you don't have any flow, whenever you wake up in the morning, this is how you know. Whenever you wake up in the morning and you have an erection, men with a healthy flow, a healthy level of testosterone, natural testosterone, I'm talking about supplementation, you have an erection. They call it like the morning wood whenever you wake up and you have an erection. Usually because the hours of 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is when your testosterone is released from your brain. That's your pharmacy. It's releasing testosterone for you. Now, if you don't have a healthy flow, you ain't gonna get that. You're not gonna get that. But overnight, you should be having an erection all the time. And it comes mainly from diet. If you drink alcohol, you lose the ability to have the erection. If you smoke, lose the ability to have the erection. And you also lose the libido. You don't even want to do it. You don't want to do it. I'm telling you, when you are in the flow, when you have a wonderful plant-based diet with whole, natural, mainly fruit. So I say plant-based diet, but really I'm talking about a fruit-heavy diet, fruitarian diet, mainly fruit. When you are mainly fruit, when you consuming mainly fruit, you just look at yourself differently. You look at yourself and you feel different. The way that you see everything is more vibrant. It's more radiant. It's more powerful. I'm telling you, this is like a natural thing. It's a natural order. So flow in terms of diet, this is also because it's going to increase your energy level. But if you're consuming things that are dead and dead carcasses, you drain your battery of anything that you have. And again, you lose the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse. So yes, ladies, pick a man that eats fruit. yeah, and eats plants. He'll be able to give you some pleasure in the bedroom. Next is wisdom. And I mean wisdom by experience, by way of experience, not just knowledge, not just reading books. You need to have actual wisdom. And wisdom is the actual doing and the actual action of doing things, taking action and risk taking, not being afraid to show up and show out and do things that you never could imagine yourself or see yourself doing prior. But it's almost like you get the wisdom from the doing, and then you learn in terms of the patterns, and then you can teach somebody else. Each one teach one. And I guarantee you that the greatest women, the sexiest women, the most beautiful women, and I'm talking about the ones with substance, they care and they admire a man with some wisdom, who's done some things, who's been somewhere, who can teach them something, who can show them something, who can free them of something, who can help them and solve problems and answer their questions. Who would not want to learn more? Even though if you don't know that you're connected to any and everything, because you are, we're all connected to the one. That means that our job is to push forward the collective consciousness, which is why I'm even talking about this in the first place, because I believe that religion and society has killed, first of all, the sexual potency for the males to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse, and then also orgasmic potency for the women to feel the natural love and surrender to that sexual potency. I believe it's where the disconnection has started. It's begun, and now it's torn, families away from each other, and I believe it's mainly because of participation in the societal norms. It may be societal, but it doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's society. It doesn't mean it's right. If it's positive and negative, then obviously you're looking at lesbians and gays and you're wondering, are you actually lesbian? Are you actually gay? Probably not. Because if there was just you and the opposite sex left on the planet, you would probably figure out a way to have sexual potency and orgasmic potency in order to keep this thing going. So something is not being told, something is not being expressed. And that's where it says, I think there is a format, because if there's a positive and a negative, then it doesn't make sense. You can't have a positive and a positive or a negative and a negative in that regard. You can't do that. So if you have a jump start, if you have a dead battery, just think about it. When you have a dead battery, you have to connect the positives and then the negatives. It's not just one side and one side. It's not. Like, you have to have, both batteries have to have both connected. So I'm just thinking to myself, because I'm just wondering, when did everybody stop carrying out like the energy rules? I'm not talking about Bibles and ancient texts. I believe in ancient texts are only books of advanced physics. They're books of advanced physics and human anatomy that tell me how to govern myself. It doesn't, and the stories that people, they're talking about, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and people like, it's like, they're not actually, in my opinion, real in that sense. It's telling you about the four seasons. It's telling you about, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Or it's telling you about, they use 9 and 7 in the Bible, like 12, with 12 disciples. That's the 12 signs of the zodiac. I believe it in a different way, in a different capacity. It does not make sense the way that people interpret these things. I don't believe that there's any kind of rules that are set up that don't follow the energy perspective. So if I can't recreate something, I'm not following the rules. I need to be able to recreate, because that's literally why I'm here. I'm here to get the knowledge, to be within me, and then I'm there to send it out. I was walking down the street, it was probably like some months ago. I think I was on my way to the gym or something. I walk up with my lady and I see like this group of gay men. And I'm looking at my lady in her outfit, and I'm looking at the gay man in his outfit, because it's a him. And I'm like, why is he trying to compete with you? He's wearing the same thing that you got. It was the most awkward thing I've ever seen. Like what made him think that this competition is right here? That doesn't make sense. I'm looking and I'm like, well, why would you do that? You've got to know that you have a psychological thing that you didn't go face. So you back down from that thing. You're so far away. You are so far away from equilibrium. You're so far away from the point in the center that you forgot who you really are. That's what I believe. I believe it, the same thing when it happens to women. Why would you want to be me? Like, why would you want to be a man? For what? What power is in that? There's no power in that. So the man that walks around and he has his voice and he's speaking as high as like a little mouse, and he's trying he's trying because he can't do it, but he's doing his best to emulate and to imitate, but he can't actually do that. There's no way for him to do that. There's no way for him to actually carry out the functions that this woman has. And then the woman is coming in there with the aggressive attitude and the big posture and trying to be combative in every way, shape, or form. Why would you do that? You're not gonna slam that man. Somehow that man is gonna figure out how to slam you back. Somehow it's something. There's no way. And I'm looking at it like, so he lost his power and she lost her power. The man is trying to be a woman and a woman that's trying to be the man. Both of them have lost their power because they've gone off of polarity. They've gone the opposite way of the masculine and the feminine. So the wisdom that the man should have to be able to teach his lady, he passes it down because the seed is the fire. The seed is the spark. And you plant that seed in the center of the woman's circle, which is then going to be that circle of life. But we need to have the spark that comes in to that circle. That should come from the man. That's it. Now you have a vision. And so the vision, and so you as a man, you should have a vision. You should also have self-discipline. Because if you don't have self-discipline, then that vision never comes true. So the self-discipline that the man has to foresee that he's going to stay on this singular path and run that race until that vision is actually done and complete, that's where I'm saying you move on purpose with a purpose. You never do anything that you didn't have the intention behind the vision. So you have to be intentional. You have to always move with intention. And you have to always move, not only move with intention, but you have to move with intention, and you have to always see if it's not going to go towards the vision being manifested, that you got to say no to it. If it's not going to help you to get the business that you want, the family that you want, the life that you want, the body that you want, the mind that you want, I suggest that you go back and check to see if you even have a vision written down. Because the vision is going to be not only the self-esteem, but the self-image. And the self-image is the image of the self. You should at all times be asking yourself, am I? And then you should be saying, I am. Am I this? Am I really that? And then you should say, I am. I am that. You don't need to go ask somebody. Who are you going to ask? That's where you lose out being a man. You don't make a choice and you don't pick a side. Nobody wants somebody who can't pick a side, who can't speak their own opinion outwardly. Nobody wants someone who's going to be agreeing to everything. Pick a side. Pick. Stand up for something that you believe in and express that outwardly. Have the courage to express it out. That's a big thing. In order to become free, in order to become a man of some kind, in order to become free, you need to do that. So this is where we're talking about sexual potency. So sexual potency, again, is the ability for a man to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse. Now, obviously, there's a feminine aspect to it too. You know, you as a woman, you also need to have a flow. You also need to be able to eat healthy. You also need to be able to understand wisdom, you know, and have experiences, and because you want to match up to the man. You know, you also have to have a vision and some self-discipline and a self-image of yourself that's positive, you know, that you can go run to. You should also be fit, women. You shouldn't be lazy. Just because you're pretty doesn't mean that you can't do anything. You gotta be some helpless little creature in the corner that's just like, everybody come save me. No, you can get up and go practice self-defense and do some things, but your man should be able to come there and stand up for you too. But you should be able to do it for yourself to some extent, you know? And also you should have high self-esteem. And most women I see, they just don't. And maybe, again, that's a societal thing, but also that's also as a result of the chemical composition because of what you've been putting inside of your body based on your diet and your food. And most of the fast food, the pharmaceutical, whatever you've been eating or drinking is not suitable for you to be, it's not sustainable. I'll use the word sustainable. For you to feel good, to feel happy, you know, to feel like you're thriving. You know, you get that taken away quickly when you go eat fast food, when you drink wine at night, whenever you take too much caffeine and coffee and teas. It stops you from regenerating yourself, replenishing yourself overnight. And then you start to carry it out towards everybody else. You need to let your man lead, but if your man's not in a leading perspective, it's because you probably also aren't in a nurturing perspective. So you gotta ask yourself in the mirror, like, am I even a nurturing person? Am I somebody that this person wants to come home to? Because many men at this day and age, at this time, sit inside the parking lot of their own home when they come back from the office, contemplating should they go inside or not. And that's rough. It's challenging. You know, you shouldn't want that for any kind of relationship. So women, in terms of a feminine perspective, this is how you would see yourself fitting where the man has the ability to carry out and consummate the sexual intercourse, but women, you have to actually want to have sexual intercourse. Now we're gonna get into the term orgastic potency. So now, and I'm gonna express to you just how this affects your mental health. So there's sexual potency. Now here is orgastic potency. Now, orgastic potency. And this is really big because in my opinion, it's the women's mind that allows harmony. The man's mind creates harmony. You know, if he's also in alignment with the creator spirit. But the women's mind has to allow the harmony to come in. And it requires a surrender. So because of sexual suppression, you cut yourself off from expressing your true nature and you lose your life force. This is how people die. So the concept of orgastic potency, all right, this is actually brought about by the gentleman named Wilhelm Reich. Now, if you don't know who Wilhelm Reich is, he was I guess you can call him he actually was a physicist. Or excuse me, he was what's called a psychoanalyst, and he was an Austrian psychoanalyst, Wilhelm Reich, not physicist, but he did do studies in physics as well. But what Reich discovered was he talked about this thing, the concept called the orgone energy. And what Reich was expressing about orgone energy was that he believed that his subjects needed healing from self-inflicted wounds and diseases that they were causing themselves. And he believed that human sexuality expressed through an orgasm was the ultimate expression of mental and physical well-being, and that to harness the orgasmic power would allow one to gain control of one's true universal life force, which is the orgone. which is like the blue light, like your etheric field, like your aura, like when you're walking around, you have this energy field of space. And he claimed that in terms of the suppression, the orgone is not unlike oxygen. So it's basically the spirit that's all around you. And he saw that fundamentally, if people suppress themselves, then they experience an orgone loss. And so he saw that this was the source of mental illness, cancer, virtually any other manner of disease or autoimmune disease, because it's self-inflicted because of suppression. So in the orgone, he saw what's called a universal cure, that he called it. So now he did study and he did theorize that you have a unified field of space. This is way back in 42, I believe. But his study started in 1929, which now the unified field, quantum physics already validates his theory that he was correct, because we are living in a unified field of space. Now, how does this relate to sexual energy? This relates to sexual energy because the answer is simple. It's suppression. It's suppression. So in Reich's theory was that when we cut ourselves off from expressing our true sexual energy, we lose our life force. Okay, so now, the sexual suppression can not only be seen through a man or woman's gait, G-A-I-T. So we're gonna talk about gait, all right, G-A-I-T. This is how someone's walking, their stance, their posture. You'll see many people walking really tall and very, very stiff like a soldier, and they just waddle kind of like this, or they have their feet turned out like that, and they're walking like that. They're not even walking in a straight line. That's due to a sexual suppression. You can see that, and it's also feel that expressed from their heart or lack thereof. So sexuality and anxiety are like opposite ends of a spectrum. Okay, so you have sexuality on one side, and then the opposite of sexuality, you can look at that as anxiety. Okay, so on one end you have a person that's expressive, that's unique, that's attractive, that's magnetic. On the opposite end, you have somebody that's literally living in fear all around them the entire time. It's complete opposite. One's expression, one's suppression. So then, psychic health, as it was called over a century ago, depends on orgastic potency. Here's this word, orgastic potency. So this is, and I'll define it as, this is the degree, the degree to which one can surrender and experience. One can surrender and experience the climax of excitation, in the sexual act. So I'll say it out loud again. So orgastic potency is the degree to which one can surrender to and experience the climax of excitation in a natural sexual act. It is founded upon the healthy character attitude of the individual's capacity of love. I'll say that again. It is founded upon the healthy character attitude of the individual's capacity for love. So psychic illnesses are a result of a disturbance of the natural ability to love. Therefore, the requirement needed to cure psychic disturbances is the reestablishment of the natural capacity to love. So this means this is the feminine, because in this aspect now, let's talk about this aspect. So let's talk about feminine. Now, what is it? What is it about the word surrender that causes such anxiety with women? They may think that it's not equal. They may think that they have to have equality, that they have to have this feminist perspective on this is how it should be. I need to have my say. You can have your say. You just gotta know how to say it. You can't say it like me. You gotta say it like you. So if you're a woman, you gotta say it like you. You gotta tone it down. You gotta actually tone it down. Just turn down a little bit. Turn down a little, couple notches. Because if you're coming at somebody, especially another man, and you're coming at that man like a man, you're gonna get treated like a man. But you shouldn't get treated like a man, because the power comes in you being a woman. That's the power. The power comes in you being your own unique self, which is a woman. The feminine perspective. So literally, the feminine perspective first, you can say tonality. So tonality. Tonality. All right? Soft. The softer you are, the more nurturing you are, the more you, just your voice, because it's so calming, and because it's so real, and because it just brings so much peace from within yourself, because you're supposed to radiate that peace from within yourself. And if you don't radiate that peace from within yourself, there's going to be a loss. So let me tell you about, in terms of how males think. You know, and because they have this really sad like misperception, I believe. When you have an insecure man, he doesn't actually want his woman to be very sexy because he's not secure with himself. So many men will say, you can't go outside like that. You can't wear that. You can't do this. You can't show off to everybody. But let me tell you something that I've learned. There's only one eye. There's one eye, one center, and one circle. All right? You have one eye. There's one spark, meaning everyone's being seen by one only eye. So if you allow your woman to be as sexually expressive as she wants to be, she's now the most uniquely powerful individual and asset that you have. She has, you know, because she creates that asset, but then you have that. You can't be afraid to allow someone to be a flower that expresses and goes out amongst themselves. And, you know, I'm not saying that they need to go sleep with everybody. I'm not saying that, because if she's actually truly in alignment with you, she won't do that, because there'll be no point, because she's more than satisfied, she's more than happy, she's more than pleased with what's going on. But still, because you're able to bring her along for growth, you're able to carry out that growth from within. You don't care about what anybody says. You're there for your own partnership, you're there for your own relationship. That's how it works. So when it comes down to women, tonality first, a soft perspective, also flow in terms of energy. Women, you can't consume wine and coffee and tea over and over again and think that that's healthy for you to do. It's not healthy for you to do. It's gonna actually make you mean and angry and sick and unpleasant to be around and shrink your energy field. Any alcohol that goes into anyone's system shrinks their energy field. Therefore, your flow of energy is going to be ruined, because what happens is your chemical conditions must be harmonious. So you need proper food and water. So flow energy in terms of diet, you need proper food and water, because if you don't have proper food and adequate water present inside your body to maintain sexual harmony, your vagina dries up, skin dries up, you basically don't have any moisture inside your body, and you need to have moisture down there. Now, you're told that your vagina's pH should be 4.5 to 5.5, which is ridiculous, because you know why? It's not on an island by itself. No, it's a part of you. It's not separate from your body. So if your body can't be at a pH of 4.5 to 5.5, why would your vagina be at a pH of 4.5 to 5.5? Think about that. It doesn't make sense. You need to have an alkaline perspective. You need to have an alkalized body and blood, and purified body and blood. And you cannot have too much caffeine that's inside of it. It stops your sleep. It stops your restorative time overnight. Natural detoxification process cannot occur. So now all of a sudden you can't get that energy back. So it's not working. So you won't work. So let's keep going. Now, traumas. We'll talk about traumas. So this is the other part that women sometimes pull back, and that's going to be traumas. So trauma is big because if you were taught as a child to suppress your sexuality and your curiosity, you grow into an adult woman who suppresses her sexuality and curiosity. It doesn't make sense. And religion taught everyone, man and women alike, not to experience pleasure because there's some taboo thing about sex. But that's how you got here. So how are you going to stop it now whenever that's how you were created and brought into existence? It doesn't make sense. You've got to understand that if you were taught that, subconsciously you're going to refuse it at every possibility, every moment. So putting up a sexy picture, you're going to say, nah, I'm not doing that. Going out with a sexy outfit, no, I'm not doing that. But it's like, no, like you look good, you go to the gym, you've gone to put the work in, you've got a great diet. Go out there and look good and feel good in your own skin. You need to actually go out there and look good and feel good on your own skin. You need to have your skin touching the sun. You need to have the sun beaming down on top of you, at all angles, filling you up with vitamin D. You need to have that. But women are afraid. Men too, but not as much as women. Because again, it's a social thing, society that's telling you that. That's telling the man to say, you can't wear this outfit. You can't. If you are real, powerful, high self-esteem, in terms of character, high value, you don't mind. You actually want them to do that. You want your lady to not only look sexy, dress sexy, be fit. You want them to be disciplined enough to take care of their self-care. Next word we're going to talk about, self-care. And self-care goes into traumas because when you have traumas as a child, whether it be mama, daddy, whatever it may be, self-care literally is going to go into eradicate those traumas, those misperceptions that you have, that you've been holding about yourself, and also the low self-image that you have. So you need to have self-care. You need to take care of yourself. You need to have a training regimen every single day. You need to get out and go and walk, turn on your mitochondria through aerobic exercise. You need to go out there and be fit. You need to do all that. You need to go out there and look sexy and dress sexy. Go out there and feel good and feel confident. Don't overwork yourself. Don't do that. Coming from a masculine perspective, don't do that. You don't need that. It makes absolutely no sense. But that's how you've always been. That's how you're going to continue to do it until you see the pattern of it, and you're going to stop that pattern. And you're going to allow yourself to be that person that's powerful. Because again, tonality, that's powerful. The less you got on, you are powerful. Just respect yourself. It ain't about respecting the man. Fuck the man. The man ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about respecting yourself. I guarantee you, he wants what every man wants. He does. He does want what every man wants. And every woman wants what every woman wants. So if you have a handsome man and every woman wants him, you don't mind. You don't mind, especially if you know he's coming back home to you. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, he's coming back home to you. But that's where these conditions, literally, it depends on social conditions as well as psychic conditions. So what does that mean? Orgasmic potency depends on social conditions, and psychic conditions. So literally, that means how you perceive society as a whole around you and how you also talk to yourself. How you talk to yourself. Women, this is it. Because if you have these social conditions and these psychic conditions that are messing with the natural order of how the divine feminine spark is is communicating with you, then if you have all of these different conditions, you become this woman who is a person who cannot surrender to love without conditions. You start making all this stuff up. I have to have this in order to do this. I have to have this bag. I have to have this car. I have to keep going to go buy something. I have to keep going to go travel somewhere. I need you to do this. I need you to speak like this, talk like this, walk like this, dress like that. You start to have all these conditions. You know why? Because you set all these conditions up inside your head because you have an inability to surrender to love. Just because of what you learned. Just because of what you've been taught. So all of this, if you are a child who was taught to suppress your sexuality and curiosity, you go into an adult woman who now suppresses her sexuality and curiosity, and this leads to you being a person who cannot, without any condition, surrender to love. So then if you can't surrender to love, what does that mean? You create for yourself psychic disturbances, all because of, literally, because of the inability to surrender, to have natural ability to love. And the natural ability is going to be disability, which is the man coming to you to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse. So you do not have the ability to surrender to sexual intercourse because of something that you were taught. So now you have an unhealthy character attitude. You have an unhealthy character attitude, and you don't even know how to understand how love can come to you because you won't let it come to you. It's crazy. It's and I'm not talking about in a perverse manner. I'm just talking about in terms of sexual freedom and exploration of oneself. See, so religion teaches you, I don't care if you're Catholic, Christian, whatever it is, religion teaches you that sexuality is not to be expressed or even talked about. It's like looked down upon something that's bad. Just like the signs of the zodiac. They tell you, it's wrong for you to evaluate yourself or to masturbate, or it's crazy. And it's like, this stuff is ancient. This stuff has been around for thousands of years. It's a technique to use to increase your energy, raises your vibration. So it's your duty to be well and be joyful and be merry. It's your responsibility, women, to be happy and be well and joyful and be merry. And if you can't do that, then you'll see that instantly that you had a problem. You have a problem. So lastly, once you get to a full battery charge from sexual activity, however you choose, okay, you're going to explode in the climax of excitation with pleasure. And that's how you're going to discharge your energy, creating an energy field around you. This is what's called the orgasm loop. Okay, so now if you orgasm during your intercourse, you and your sexual partner create a field of energy around yourselves. This is what's called an orgasm loop that raises your vibration and creates in the field something that you imagine, that you're imagining, that you're going for. So you want a new house, you want a new car, you want more money, whatever it is. You can use sex to create something brand new amongst yourself by creating an orgasm loop within yourself and your partner. Okay? But your suppression of your sexual energy will cause you to block the energy distributed within your body. This leads to disease and discomfort. It's your sexual energy. It's all it is. It's just the energy of the orgasm. That's what he's talking about. It's all around you. And it's around you all the time. So you may think it's just somebody's property. There's no such thing as cheating. You don't cheat on nobody. You're not owned by anybody. If you aren't in harmony magnetically with somebody else, you have the right to leave. The ancients did it. No one had all these criminal rules that you have at this moment in time. This stuff is ridiculous. I mean, divorce is $1 billion industry, which is crazy. People eat off of it. Weddings are also $1 billion agent. It's awful. People are just like exploiting this stuff. So you're causing yourself discomfort by letting whatever limiting beliefs that you have about sex hold you back from receiving the infinite love, right? And you've got to let go, because the energy of the orgasm is everywhere all the time. It's here to comfort you. It's here to bring you back to harmony with yourself. So literally, just by accepting that you can do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do, however you want to do it, you have the right. You're not owned by anybody. So the worst thing that you can tell somebody is that you cheated on me. No, no one cheated on you. You are not in vibrational alignment with this person anymore. You changed the frequency up. You weren't doing what you're supposed to do. If this person goes behind you and doesn't say, hey, I need you to step this up. I need you to take care of your self-care. I need you to train yourself more. I need you to look sexier, to just, tone it down a little bit. And you didn't respond in that way that can fit this thing. See? Because again, those conditions are natural conditions. It's not set up by, just the man coming in or the woman coming in saying, honey, I don't want you to be fat no more. Stop drinking beer and sitting on the couch all day and, wasting your time and not having a purpose. No, you need to have a purpose. Get your ass up. There ain't no unnatural condition. She's telling you the truth. God's telling you through her, get your ass up and go find a vision. That's what's happening. So in this case, the way to solve it, I believe it's actually pretty easy, because so again, let's go back over real quickly. So sexual potency, the ability to carry out and consummate sexual intercourse, orgasmic potency, and that's going to be from a masculine perspective, the male perspective. Orgasmic potency from a female perspective. This is the degree to which one can surrender and experience the climax of excitation in the sexual act, which is sexual intercourse of any kind. But the ability from the woman's perspective to surrender. All you have to do is understand that you're not someone's slave. You're not. By you being able to surrender, you're allowing yourself to fit, and then you have that nice little yin and yang, where it's a yin and yang, and you have your side and this side, and these sides fit together. That's what it is. Allow yourself to fit. Allow yourself to surrender. Allow yourself to fix yourself and to heal yourself. It comes through sexuality, and it comes through releasing sexual suppression. Stop walking so tall like a soldier. Stop being so stiff. Stop being so controlling, trying to control everything. Just let yourself flow. Just let yourself be, because this is the requirement that you need to cure yourself of everything that you've blocked yourself from. No, it was wrong. I'm here to tell you right now, growing up, the church was wrong, because you are the church. Man is the first church, it's you. You are your own church. Religion is just habit, and you decided to take somebody else's habits that they wrote into some doctrine, contract, to tell you that this is how you're supposed to live your life, but it's not. You need to understand that you've got to close your eyes, be still, and know that you are God, goddess, and you're created in the image of the gods, in the sixth dimension. That's imagination. So whatever you come down to third dimension, whatever you imagine yourself as, I am. That's the gods. It's just you. Whatever you decide that you are going to be at this moment in time. But if you can be harmonious from within yourself, if you can leave all the social conditions out, and you can change the psychic conditions by affirming something better for yourself. Overnight, play it overnight. Record yourself saying affirmations, play them overnight. Actually do it with your partner. That's even better, because when you pray with one's partner, you actually become more sexually attracted. It increases intimacy and sexual relationship. It increases the relationship between yourself and your partner when you pray together, when you affirm together. So do that. Do it for each other. Pray for each other. Affirm for each other. State what you believe about somebody new. Change your imagination, because your imagination is the mind of God. So if you're imagining and expecting bad things to happen, they will happen. So if you can't surrender yourself based on your imagination, you can't even imagine a fantasy with the person that you are with. If you can't imagine seeing them in a greater way, it's because you let yourself go so far off, away from the natural order of things. That's why you end up the way you are. So just by realizing that the degree to which the woman can surrender is orgastic potency. The ability to carry out and consummate the intercourse in the first place is sexual potency, the male and the female. I want you all the time. And the woman saying, I'll receive you all the time. That's it. If this video helped you guys, like, share, subscribe, and remember, twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, we put out 2 long form videos. And I believe Tuesday and Thursday, actually every day we have a short coming out on our site. So, if you guys want to keep up, again, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications. You guys will see some new things coming up. And click a link in the descriptions. You guys will see the Kumar Alkalign Challenge. We have herbal formulas to help you guys get cleansed and detoxed. Also, one-on-one coaching for anybody who's looking to improve their relationship, realign their chakras, also become more alkaline and change your diet, go from a acidic to plant-based. Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.